All right, Tanya. Tanya is going to take me through Azure Security Center today. And this is, can you see my video, Tanya? Or is it
I,
still?
I, I can't see it, but that's okay.
All right, let me just try to start it one more time
Okay.
because I know everybody's going to want to see my lovely video, but maybe not. Well, we'll give up on that. But we're going to go through Security Center today, which is excellent because I don't know anything about Security Center. So you're going to walk me through Azure Security Center, and I'm going to ask a lot of really dumb questions.
No, they're not
And
dumb. If I
that's what we're
haven't
going to do.
answered it already, it's not dumb.
Well, it should be interesting either way. All right, Tanya, the floor is
So
yours.
hi, I'm Tanya Janca and I work with Burke. And I'm going to minimize our screen now, so you're just going to see Azure now.
Woohoo!
Cool. Okay.
Hold on, we still
So,
see you.
okay, so this is Azure.
Wait,
And
wait,
down
we still
here.
see you, Tanya.
Oh, okay. Just a second. Oh yeah, I know what's wrong. Just a second.
Screen sharing is hard, even in
Yeah.
2018.
Screen sharing's like hard.
There we go. That's
All right.
there we go. Now it's up. Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna minimize, get Skype out of there. Okay, so this is Azure Security Center. Or
Holy
no, this
tabs.
is Azure.
You got a lot of
Just-
tabs open there, Tanya.
Yeah.
It's like
I
Chrome
know.
eating up 8 gigs of RAM.
I know, and I want to close them, but I need to write 2 blog posts and then publish 2 videos of my DevSlop show before I can do that because I want to have all the links. In
All right.
short, I've just had meetings the past 2 days, so yeah. But I swear it's not normally that bad. I can just like close this.
We'll take your word for it.
Okay, so if you look over here in this menu thing, near the bottom is Security Center. Why is it at the bottom? I don't know. Obviously, it should be at the top, right? Security's number 1. Everyone knows this. I'm not biased at all. So if we click here, so if you wouldn't mind on your own screen, if you would like not recording, click on yours so that you could see some stuff.
Yeah, you want me to do it on my side?
Yeah, just like you don't need to show the audience, but just so you can follow along some stuff with me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm loading it up here on my other
Okay.
monitor.
And I'm only going to show my subscription instead of all the other subscriptions because I don't want you to see everyone's mistakes. I just want you to see mine.
You got a lot of subscriptions. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, well, one of them, like, I'm kind of concerned because I think that I added some stuff during one of my workshops, and then like there's this new thing, but I also subscribe to a bunch more subscriptions at the same time, and I'm like, is one of those from my workshop, or where it's an intentionally vulnerable thing, or I'm like, or is this a real subscription, and I need to go crack some skulls because it's like pretty awful. It's
So-
on my list for today.
So let me ask you, I've got a little banner at the top of mine that says, your security experience may be limited. Click here
Yes.
to learn more.
Yes, please learn more.
Okay.
So if you look at, so you're probably, it's going to bring you to here to coverage, and then you're going to be in not covered or basic coverage, but I want you to be here in the standard coverage, which means you've turned on Azure Security Center.
Yeah, I'm actually going to move this over here so people can see this.
Yeah, will you please turn it on?
Yes, it says apply standard plan. First
please.
60 days are free.
Yeah.
All right.
Just so you know, Burke, our bosses will pay for your subscription, and we are all supposed to be on the standard coverage, which is why I've been booking these meetings with every member of the team.
Oh, that's what this was all about, was to get me to click that one button.
Yeah, well, I'll ask you to click some more buttons in the future.
All right, it wants me to add non-Azure computers. No, don't do that.
Would you dare showing me your screen?
Sure.
Okay, so
If I
let's
can
go
figure it out
back.
here.
So I'm going to stop sharing, and then you can share for a little bit.
Hopefully, my screen sharing button's grayed out at the moment. We'll see.
Oh, wait, I'm going to make you a presenter. Watch this.
Oh, my video's working again, too. Look at that.
Yeah, I can see you. You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay, so now...
All right, so let me share my screen. Not that screen. Let's share this screen.
Yeah.
I'll toggle over. Okay. So this is what I see.
Okay, perfect. So do you want to add non-Azure computers? Yeah, we do. We want to add anything that you have in there. So if you click that little tiny blue arrow.
This one here?
Yes, please. And yeah, so I guess that is, oh yeah, the CDA Global Demos.
Yeah, that's a different sub. It's
weird though, but I've already added that subscription. Like, I've already upgraded that one. Like, the first thing I did was upgrade everything that I had the power to upgrade. Brian's like, poor Brian, and like, I want power to upgrade all the CDAs. He's like, no, Tanya, you got to teach a man to fish, not just hand out the fish. And I'm like, I'll teach them after.
You should have said, Brian, we're talking about security, not fishing. I don't know what your problem is. Okay, so what do I don't need to, I'm not going to add this. I don't think that's going to, I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, I'll look into that. Container logs workspace. Okay, so X that. But what we need to do is make sure that it saves. Do you want to save? Oh my God. I honestly find turning it on to be impressively complicated.
I did turn it on here, but should I just refresh and see if this goes away?
Yeah. Click refresh, except for I don't think it's going to work. Actually, go on your left. So
sorry.
It's cool. Don't worry. Because I don't think that's saved. So, covered. Oh, perfect. Okay, blue. So
nice.
That's perfect. That's what we want.
Where is that?
Okay.
This right here?
Yep, the big blue circle. That is what we want. We don't want it to be purple or gray.
Okay.
That means all your stuff's covered. Okay, so see how it says, like, resources, security hygiene? So there's a security score.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah. So usually that says recommendations. I think they changed that today, so that's awesome. So on the left-hand menu, you see how there's like overview, getting started, events. There's like a whole bunch of things on the left of Security Center. So you want to click on recommendations, which is 3 up from where you are. Yeah, click there. This is the main thing that I want you to pay attention to. So it says you have a score of 788.
Is that pretty good? It'd be a good credit score.
Honestly, I don't understand why it's showing you blue, because if you look at the other stuff, see all that red?
Yeah.
Part of your circle should be red. So I think the Azure Security Center right now is still scanning your resources, and in like 15 minutes, you're going to have no offense, a red and orange circle.
Oh.
Instead of a blue circle. But if we look at, for instance, like we look at those, so some of these can be, I don't want to say ignored, but you can ignore them.
I wonder, what is it, but which, I don't have any virtual machines. Is this looking at...
Might be looking, okay, so see above the blue circle, there's like a little filter button that says filter. Click that. Oh, okay, no, ignore that. X out of there. So can you go up and maybe unshare your screen for a second?
Yeah.
Turn off your Azure Mask. And then So turn off your Azure Mask and then change it so your subscription, you can only see your specific...
Up in the corner here?
EU Holland. Yeah, up in the corner there should be like a filter button, and then you just want to show your subscription.
Let's see here. Directory plus subscription. 2 subscriptions. CDA Global Demos in Burke Holland. So I'm just going to change it to just Burke Holland. Okay. This is better. All right. So I'm going to share the screen again.
Turn your mask back on and then share your screen. All right. Because we're not going to dox ourselves on your show. Privacy, not just security.
So this looks better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much better. Good for you. 1 red.
Yes.
Security, identity, and access. Okay. So let's click. So if we look at your recommendations, if we look at number 1, oh, you have jumping things in your dock. Things are jumping.
Yeah, that happens all the time. You get used to it.
It stresses me out when they jump.
I know, but it's nothing. Like if I go there, it's going to be nothing. So I just don't even bother.
I turned all of it off. I can't handle my notifications. I have like almost all things turned off on my phone and my computer. People are like, how do we reach you? I'm like, just don't.
Yeah, you don't. That's the whole point.
send it to my work email so I can ignore it. I mean, answer it immediately.
So what do? I want to click on this so bad because it says hi.
Yeah, please click on that. So apparently you only have one owner for your subscription. So this means if something happened to you, like you got the flu or you won $1 billion and somehow that was enough money that you felt like you should stop working at Microsoft, like I don't understand why you would quit, but then you would want to have another person that could do stuff on your subscription. You wouldn't want your manager to have to jump all around through security to gain control. Instead, it would be cool if you had another person. So if you click on your subscription, so click on the column there. Down.
Here, okay.
Yeah, there. And then you want to add another person to subscription owner. So I added my boss.
So that's here.
Yeah, so add your boss as an owner because I feel we can trust your boss. Who's your boss? Is it Tim?
John Papa. So do I click? Do I click? Yeah.
We can trust John.
What's that?
We can trust John.
Well, I don't know about that.
So click add and then role owner. So
Owner.
the reason we're doing this is so that you have a backup.
Access to.
So look for John Papa.
Can I give it to Satya Nadella?
Probably. We can probably trust that guy.
No, yeah, he's right there. I can. I'm gonna make Satya Nadella the backup owner. Okay, John Papa. I gotta turn my Azure mask needs to be turned back on. I forgot to do that. Boom. It masked everything. Okay, we'll leave it off for a second.
Okay, so we want to add him. So you have to click the pink thing next to him. You have to click it. No. So down a little bit. Down a little bit. Click one of the John Papas.
Like right there?
Yeah, and then click save. Yeah, there you go. So you selected him. And then now you could turn back on your mask if you wanted.
All right, let's turn it back on. All right.
Yeah. Okay, so now if we go back to your recommendations, so if you go in your breadcrumbs, yeah, go back. And then if you hit refresh, that should disappear at some point.
Be nice if it just kind of updated on its own, you know?
Yeah, it will. It will update on its own. It just takes a minute or two.
Oh, so it does. If I just leave it there, eventually it'll catch up.
Yeah, it will. It's just like, it's like scanning all your new stuff, and it's like, I have bigger fish to fry, Burke.
It still hadn't picked that up, but...
Yeah, it's going to take a minute or two, but don't worry, it will.
Okay, so I'm back to recommendations here.
Okay, so if we look at the next one, Functions app should only be accessible over HTTPS. So it thinks you have 9 function apps.
That's probably about right.
And that you can access them from HTTP, like port 80, and not only HTTPS port 443.
So let's do the weather bulb.
Okay, do you have a certificate for the weather bulb?
No.
No, and is this a custom URL or is this just one that you got?
It's just one. It's just whatever the one functions gives you. You know.
So okay, perfect. So all you need to do is see how it says HTTPS only. Just click on. And you need to make sure though that whoever's calling your function app knows to call it from HTTPS because otherwise you'll break stuff.
It's a timer function, so it's calling itself. So probably not the best example. Let's go back and do one that is an HTTP function.
Yeah, so go back in the first breadcrumbs, that one.
So let's do the temperature converter, I believe. We'll turn that on. So that's...
Do you have a custom URL for this?
No.
Okay, perfect. Because if you do, I want to make sure everyone knows that you need to go get a certificate from DigiCert, Let's Encrypt, another CA, because you won't be able to do it under the Azure. So we, Microsoft, are a certificate authority, but only under the Azure domains that we give away, not other domains. So you can flip this on, but my website, I have a custom URL because I'm fancy. So I have to go get a cert.
So I'm going to copy this and just hit it. So HTTP, that should fail.
it should force you over to HTTPS. That's what it should do.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Perfect! Can I give you a mini lecture as to why we need to do, let's see.
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. Okay, so the reason why we need to use HTTPS, there's a whole bunch of reasons. You can just Google Troy Hunt if you want to know a lot more. But
never heard of the guy.
Yeah, no one's heard of him. He's only insanely famous. But basically, when you don't have HTTPS, that means someone can interrupt your traffic and man in the middle of you, and so get in between. And they can replace your content with bad content, malicious content, inaccurate content, and attack your users. And obviously, Burke and I care about people that use our apps and our services, and so we want to protect them from something like that. Like when you go to a hotel, they man in the middle of you, but you're staying there and they're sort of trustworthy, I guess, compared to, I mean, if you're at a coffee shop that gives away free internet, that's like the danger zone.
Is it really? This is why you should have like a VPN, right?
Yeah, if you have a VPN, you're fantastic. I have a VPN that I use whenever I connect my computer to anything, even when I'm at home, actually, just in cases, because I'm obsessive and I'm a security person. But when you have only HTTP, there's just a ton of different things that people can sneak in there that you would be unaware of. And because we want to protect our users and we don't know where our users are coming from and our users want privacy, that's why we should enable HTTPS and force HTTPS. End of lecture.
You know, that's really good. I'm probably not. I think a lot of people are not as vigilant about that. I tend to get super nervous when the network is just wide open. So this doesn't so happen so much in the U.S., although it does happen, where you go somewhere and there's a network and you just join, it's just wide open, like, right? Like, just welcome. Like, to me, that's always a little too good to be true. But I also, whenever I travel, I try not to do, like, banking and stuff on other people's Wi-Fi. Like, just restrict my actions to things that aren't, super critical.
Here's what everyone should do. If you're going to connect to a crazy open Wi-Fi, close your email. And if you can, close your browsers or like stop your whatever. Connect to the Wi-Fi, immediately turn on a VPN. So at Microsoft, our employees use Global Protect. But for private internet access, there's one called Private Internet Access that I used to use before I worked here. There's a ton of them. They're like $5 or $6 a month, and you can put it on your phone, you can put it on your computer, and just turn that on, and then turn on your email, and then go to your banking app, and then do all the other stuff, because it's like you have a shield surrounding you. It's a virtual private network.
But Tanya, let me just play the devil's advocate here for a second and say, can I just ask, isn't that mostly just paranoia, though? I mean, am I really going to get... does this really happen to people?
Okay, so I live in Quebec, but basically I live in Ottawa. There's just like a little bridge in between us, just a little river. And if I go to a coffee shop there, is there a high likelihood of a hacker being there waiting for me because I'm so interesting, or that I'm attacking everyone? The likelihood's sort of low, but it's not impossible. And people set up things like Wi-Fi pineapple. So there's a bar in Ottawa, and someone on Reddit took a picture, and they had set up a Wi-Fi pineapple, which hijacks, like it looks like the internet, but really it's some other internet. And then they're man in the middling everything and just watching all your stuff. And some ass that worked at the bar, or who was just visiting the bar.
Oh yeah, just somebody who walked in and plugged it in.
Yeah, and just sniffed everyone's traffic all night and saw everyone's passwords and everything. And if they weren't on a VPN and they weren't using anything encrypted, like everything went through there.
All right, so let's look at a different one here. This is websites, and this one it should be interesting. So let's do this one up top here. This site is actually here, so I'll put in the URL, but it is not over HTTPS. It is a custom URL, so you can see it says not secure.
Yeah, we need to get your certificate, Burke.
We do. All right, so what do I do?
Okay, so you will be doxing yourself by giving some public information away.
All right.
So what you could do is you could link my show where I do that, basically, you want to go get a certificate from a certificate authority. And DigiCert gives away free certificates to Microsoft employees doing open source things or things on the side, and MVPs as well. Or you could go to Let's Encrypt, which is just a certificate authority where it's 100% free. However, the automation of certificates for Let's Encrypt, like the renewal of them, is not supported by Azure just yet. I'd love you to help amplify my voice as to why that should be supported. But right now it's not supported out of the box, so I'm using DigiCert. Let me look up the website again. Rick sent it to me, DigiCert. Okay, so I'm going to send you a little link in the Skype window, in the chat window.
Digicert.com?
Yeah, but it's a specific program for us. So if you click the link, it's like friends-MS-MVP.
Ah, can I give that out to everybody?
Yeah, you can give that out to everyone. So if you're an MVP for Microsoft or an employee, you get free stuff. Hi, that's me. Hi.
Yeah, you're back. Inception. All right, hold on. There we go.
Yeah, so could you click the things that are in your doc so they just stop doing that?
Yeah, what do we got here? One is system preferences. What does it want? Nothing. It wants nothing. You can't make this stuff up, Tanya. And then the other one is GarageBand, which is going to want to know if I want to use the new audio interface. I don't.
And you're like, please stop GarageBand.
It's so annoying.
Like, couldn't it stop bouncing after like a couple minutes? Because you're like, clearly I'm actively ignoring you.
I don't know. It's one of the things about Mac OS that I'm not a huge fan of. Okay, so I can go here and get a free certificate.
Yeah, so
that's all my personal information.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll have to cut that out.
Yeah, it's all your personal information, and that's why you don't want to fill this out in front of the audience. So you will fill this out, and you need to include an organizational information. So you might want to do Channel 9. So when I did this, I did my organization as DevSwap instead of OWASP DevSwap. Yeah, so if you fill it out fake, they'll know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I went on the show and I tried to implement it, and I put 24 Sussex Drive as my address, which is the Prime Minister's address of Canada. And I use it for everything. Justin Trudeau and I live together.
Is he wait a minute, is that in Ottawa? Is he in Ottawa?
Yeah, he's in Ottawa on Sussex Drive. Like, it's like the White House, but for Canada.
What does it look like? Is it a big, like, palatial?
Nope.
Really?
It's not just because we're Canadian and that's how we roll.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll do this later. In the meantime, I'll put a link to your video where you do this in the show description so people can see how to do this.
Yeah, so we have 3 episodes of us doing it, and basically on Sunday we're gonna this week Franziska and I are gonna do the winner show where we're gonna do it under the OWASP Foundation, because basically you need to do it under a corporation. You can't do it under a person.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, boo. But it's good that they're catching me trying to fake them out. They kept catching us. I was like,
wait a minute, can't you buy an SSL cert from within Azure? I swear I've done that.
Okay, sure. Maybe you can.
But I think it's only if you buy the domain there as well. And you can see I did not.
Yeah, I did not either. Nicole Becker, as part of my open source project, bought it. And she actually bought the wrong address that's on my business cards.
Nice.
Yeah,
whoops.
So that's awesome.
All right, well, all right, so we'll add a link on to do that. Let's go back to our recommendations, since we can't do that right now.
Definitely. So the next one is...
I know what this one is too. So let's go back to the temperature converter. It's going to want me to restrict the IPs that have access to this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't want like everything ever to be able to touch it.
Yeah.
So do you want everyone to be able to call your function, everyone ever? Or do you just want you to be able to call it?
Yeah, I think, in a perfect world, you would want to restrict and know about everyone that's calling your API. So for instance, if you had an application calling an API from a certain domain, you would want to restrict the calls to just that domain. Not that couldn't be spoofed, But at least it makes it harder to just throw up a denial of service attack.
So a big problem with APIs is that software developers seem to think, oh, well, they're like hidden because like no one knows they're there. Who would even look?
The Chrome DevTools.
Yeah, they don't do any traditional security, and it actually made it to the OWASP top 10 last year, but then they removed it because of politics. But anyway, as like an ethical hacker, like when I would do a pen test, like someone was asking me to test their like mobile app, and I was like, great, are your APIs in scope? And they're like, oh, how do you know we have APIs? I'm like, I'm looking at them right now, and I want to talk dirty to them. But I don't want to do it until I have your written permission. And they're like, how can you find them? I'm like, literally, this took less than 10 seconds. Like, they're really visible. They're really easy to find. So they're not hidden, and we definitely need to protect them. And reducing the scope of IP addresses that are allowed to talk to them is one of the fantastic ways to do it.
So I'm going to add in a block here. I think this is my IP, right? I went to what'smyip.com.
Yeah, so that's your public IP address. So do you have a static IP address from your provider, so it's always the exact same one? Or does yours like change and it's dynamic and your IP and
it's
your
probably dynamic, but it's not like I don't pay for it, but for the sake of demonstration, so it will probably rotate.
Okay,
but for the sake of demonstration here, not a valid CIDR address. Oh, it wants a range.
Okay, so can you do that to /24?
You can do /24?
Yeah, so delete the delete the 228.
Oh, okay.
Delete, and put 0. So .0 and then a dash in between instead of a slash. Oh, okay, so perfect.
Is that going to work?
Yeah, I think that should do most of your addresses. So I am not a networking expert.
What does /24 mean?
It's like a subnet range. So I took a course on this like twice, but both of them were a long time ago. Like one was 2 years ago, but I have to say I was just like, when am I ever going to manually have to do subnetting? Damn it.
We just did it. That was like the first time. I think the only time I ever learned about it was in a networking class in college. And I had the same thought. I'm like, I'm never going to do this.
Yeah, well, I did
15 years later.
Job at the time hacking networky stuff. But then I immediately switched to AppSec, and I was like, I'm in love with AppSec, and I'm not going to hack networks, so this doesn't matter. And then, you were wrong, Tanya.
All right, so what is this priority here? Is this can I put in like the 228, I think is what I am?
No. It's not your IP address. It's like what priority. Can you delete that and like, let's see what it says? Example 300. So I say do 300. I don't know what the priority means, but it's way higher than 0, and that sounds good.
Okay.
And IP address. So, and then for description, I don't know if you want to say, we have no idea what this means. Okay, perfect. Yeah, good job.
Got it. All right, so it's added this. So now it should still allow me to run this.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see
then
if
let
it
me see
does.
if I try it.
Let's see if it works. Yep. Okay, so it still works for me. And let me bring this in and give it to you.
Perfect.
So I'll drop it in the chat here.
Okay, so now I'm going to try it. And this web app is stopped.
Oh, really?
To reach a web app that does not accept requests. 403, no way, Jose.
Oh, wow. I got blocked like way before it even got to the application, like at the router level.
Stop Azure!
Yeah, nice. Okay.
Nice.
So let's come back to recommendations here. So I can do that for all my HTTP functions.
Please do.
And it wants the same thing for web apps. So functions and web apps are very similar in a lot of their different configurations because they're available. Cores should not allow every resource to access your function app. I know what this one is too.
Okay, so people allow other scripts to like, let's say you're going to use jQuery. People are down with jQuery. They're like, it's awesome and I like it. Nope, don't put a star there. Never put a star there. like we should put self or jQuery, or like, let's say we're allowing like Google because we use Google Maps or something. But like, we need to name our resources, our cross-origin resource sharing. Why is this important? Okay, so here's the main big reason, is that if you have cross-site scripting vulnerability in your app, which a lot of people do because it's hard to stamp it out, the first thing that cross-site scripting attackers do is they link it to their other script on the internet, because usually, like, your field will only accept this far, right? And they can't fit their huge, malicious, awful payload that they're planning for you in this little space. So instead what they do is they just script it to redirect it to their awful script. But cores will say, that's not on our list. No. And then you've just squashed a really awful attack.
Yeah, we put the star in there during development, right? So when you're developing and you've got, you got your local host running and it's not quite in production yet, you star the cores, and then what happens is you forget to change that when your application actually goes live, right? Because it's just still working.
Yep.
I bet that happens to a lot of people.
It does, and I think it's really cool that they just started showing this.
Huh.
I high-fived the team in Israel last week that did this, and thank you. From an apps professional to you.
That's pretty neat, because that's a really easy thing to forget about. I totally forgot I had even done that. But I do it every time, and it's not uncommon to do that during dev, right? Let's just open it all wide up, just because we just need things to work right now during development. But then once we go to production, then we need to start locking it down. And then by that time, it's too late, you've forgotten.
Exactly. So this little reminder is fantastic.
So let's see, provide security contact details. That's part of my subs. It's going to want me to...
Yeah, but could you do that after we're not online?
Absolutely.
Please add your phone number and also your email address, because if there's a security emergency, Azure Security Center can call you and tell you, like, if there's an emergency, like they are certain that someone has broken into your database and stolen your data. If you haven't allowed it to block that for you, at least it can tell you, oh my God, the world is ending. So you know now, instead of me knowing a few weeks later when I've looked in because I spy on all of you. Well, I try to check out everyone's warnings, but there's just so many. It's sometimes kind of like my dashboard's on fire.
Yeah, I can imagine. So this one down here is pretty interesting. Now, this is a low priority, but it's still super interesting. Use the latest version of Node.
Yes,
which,
because you are not using the latest version.
This is wild. So we can go down here and see. So for instance, I just set this one up today. So let's take a look at this. And I know for a fact that I set this one up with 8.11. What is the current, what is Node LTE? Or it's not LTE, that's my phone, LTS. Node, what are we doing here? Nodejs.org, not the blog, just the homepage. To 8.12 is LTS, and I think mine's 8.11.
Okay.
Oh, where are we at?
Keeping our frameworks up to date is important, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to update, and then you get technical debt.
Well, that's interesting. Look at that. 8.12 is LTS. Do we even have 8.12 in this list? We don't. It's not even there. Look at that.
Why is it complaining to you that you need to upgrade?
I don't know. Is it because 10.10 is current? That shouldn't be doing that. We don't even have 10.10. Okay, I need to open an issue on this.
Yeah, so there's 10.1. So you have 8.11, but we're up to version 10 already?
Well, here's the thing. The way Node works is you have a current version, but then you have this LTS, which is long-term support. So most people, especially like enterprises and people that want stability and security and things like that, are going to hang out here. So really, this should probably be what we're warning people on.
Mm-hmm. This is really interesting. Just a second. I'm going to quickly look that up in the CVE database to see if there's any known vulnerabilities with CVE.
On 8.12?
Yeah. I'm going to just look and see if there's anything. So search. So it's node.js and then it's 8.12?
Yeah.
But you're on 8.11.
I'm on 8.11 because that's the only version I could get. That's the closest I could get to LTS inside of Azure. But then it skips over to 9.4 and 10.1. I'm betting it wants 10.1, but that's not the current version. So we need to look at opening an issue for Security Center that targets this LTS, I think. But people smarter than me need to make that call.
Yeah, there's a bunch of CVEs where it says that they're open, like common vulnerability enumerators. Like it's basically the numbering system for known public vulnerabilities. And like I'm finding 39 when I do a search.
For 8.12?
For things from, some of them say up to 8.12, but a lot of them include 8.11. Sorry, 8.11, not 8.12. So let me do a search on 8.12. Just a second, I have to do another search. Okay, and then I'm just gonna change that to 12. And then I find 8.12. So that's less than 8.12. No. Okay, so some of these are not node. So it has 8.12, but they're not node related. So none of these appear to be related to node. It's other products that say 8.12.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that's cool. So 8.12 appears to not have any, which is awesome.
Well, who can I give this feedback to, Tanya? Who's our Security Center advocate?
It appears to be me. I am our advocate for every single part of security. And that is why I'm literally begging all the time, please hire another one, please hire another one here, please hire another one.
So we should get LTS in this list, and then my recommendation is that alert should alert to 8.2 LTS. But that's extremely useful because that's another place where you just tend to forget, and especially if you have a lot of applications going.
Yeah. I'm just writing a note. Node.js LTE. Okay, cool. I'm going to send that later in my feedback pile.
All right, Tanya, I've got to...
You have to go?
Yeah, I had to stop 15 minutes ago. So for people that are watching this video here, Tanya and I are going to publish this on YouTube. Yeah. Check out Tanya's video as well. That's in the description to figure out how to add an SSL cert for a custom domain, which is probably that's probably the actual scenario that you'll be in, not the one where you have the Azure domain, which is simple to solve. Yeah. So we'll publish that. And any last parting security recommendations, Tanya?
Definitely look in Azure Security Center and follow as many recommendations as you can. There's an API for some of this if you want to add it to your DevOps pipeline. And I know that's not enough information here, but I have a show. It's OWASP DevSlop, like a little show on Twitch. And I'm going through how to do each of these each week so that I don't just say it, I actually show you. So you could come check that out with me.
Very cool.
Thanks for having me, Burke. And thank you especially for securing your subscription so I can sleep at night.
I feel so much better now.
As your security person, this is fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.